The sheriff's son took her in chains until the rancher broke them and freed her. The sun was low when I saw her. A shape leaned against my fence, broken and still. I rode closer, my horse uneasy. "Sir?" a weak voice said. Her wrists were tied with heavy chains. Her dress was torn, her face marked. I pulled back on the reins, staring. She lifted her eyes. "Please," she whispered, "don't take me back." I swallowed hard. "Who did this to you?" I asked. Her lips shook. "Ethan," she said. "The sheriff's son. He will kill me if I run." My chest tightened. The sheriff's son. That name was enough to burn my conscience. "You shouldn't be here," I muttered. "You'll bring trouble on me." Tears ran down her face. "I begged for help," she said. "No one listened. Please. You can't leave me." I looked at the chains again. Rust bit into her skin. Her arms were swollen. The ground around her was stained with blood. I dismounted and stepped close. "You need water," I said. Her eyes widened. "You won't take me back?" I hesitated. The law in this town belonged to Ethan, but the law in my heart said otherwise. "Tell me," I asked, "what did he do to you?" She lowered her head. "He said I belonged to him. He said no man would dare help me, and if I tried, he would make me crawl." Her voice broke. "I tried to fight. He chained me here." The cold air filled my lungs. I clenched my fists. I wanted to ride to town and strike Ethan down, but instead I looked at her shaking hands. "Can you stand?" I asked. She shook her head. "My legs weak. No food for days." I bent near the lock. It was heavy black iron. I had no key, but I carried an axe on my saddle. "I can break this," I said. "But once I do, he'll come for me. And for you." Her eyes met mine. "Then let him come," she whispered. "I'd rather die free than live in chains." Her words cut me deep. I thought of my land, my home, my family name, but I also thought of her courage, even in pain. I grabbed the axe. Each strike rang loud in the evening air. She flinched but did not move. At last the lock broke. The chain fell loose. She gasped, clutching her wrists. Her skin was raw. Her hands trembled but reached for mine. "You freed me," she said. I nodded slowly. "You're safe here. For now." But I knew it was a lie. Nothing was safe with Ethan in town. She leaned against the fence, breath sharp. "What's your name?" she asked. "Sam," I said. "Sam Carter." Her lips trembled into a faint smile. "Clara Hayes. I'll remember that." I looked toward the horizon. Dust rose in the distance. Maybe riders, maybe him. Time was short. "You can't stay here," I said. "My barn is close. I'll hide you there." She tried to rise, but her knees buckled. I caught her before she fell. Her weight was nothing. Her courage was heavy. "I can walk," she insisted, but I shook my head. "You'll ride with me." I lifted her onto my horse, careful with her wrists. She winced but held steady. I mounted behind, one arm around her. "Hold on," I said. "I won't let you fall," she whispered. "You already didn't." We rode fast across the dirt. The wind carried the smell of smoke. My ranch lay ahead, strong but fragile. When we reached the barn, I carried her inside. Hay rustled under our boots. She sat breathless, eyes darting. "Will he find me?" she asked. I looked at the broken chain still in my hand. "Yes," I said quietly. "He'll come, but I'll be ready." Her gaze softened. "You risked everything," she said. "Why?" I paused. "Because I couldn't ride away. Because her chains felt like mine. Because no one deserves this," I said. "And because I would want someone to save me." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, her lips curved into a small, fragile smile. The night grew darker. But in that barn, with her free, I felt a fire inside me. Not anger alone, but something more dangerous, hope. I rode into town with anger in my chest. The sun burned hot above the dusty street. I saw Ethan leaning against the saloon rail, grinning like he owned the world. "Ethan," I said, my voice low. He laughed and spread his arms. "Well, look who came crawling from his ranch. You here to give her back?" "She's not yours," I said. "No person is property," he smirked. "You think big words make her free?" "She's mine. Everyone knows it." I clenched my fists. "You tricked her. You chained her. That's not love. That's not law." Ethan spat on the ground. "Law? My father is the law. And me? I'm his son. You? You're just a poor rancher with a burned barn and empty pockets." I stepped closer, boots heavy in the dust. "Say what you want." "I won't hand her over." The saloon doors swung open. Sheriff Blackwell stepped out, badge shining in the sun. His eyes landed on me, then on Ethan. "Problem here?" the sheriff asked, voice calm but cold. "No problem, Pa," Ethan said quickly. "This rancher stole my woman. I'm just asking him to do the right thing." I stared at the sheriff. "She's no thief." She begged for help. I cut her chains. Whispers spread through the crowd gathering near. Old men leaned on canes. Women pressed hands to their mouths. The sheriff sighed. "Sam, best you stay out of this. My boy has rights." "Rights?" I shouted. "Rights to hurt her? To keep her in chains?" "That's not law, Sheriff." "That's your blood talking." Ethan grinned wider. "Careful, Sam. Men who shout at sheriffs end up in graves." I felt heat rise in me. "Then dig one for me, because I won't stop." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "Go home, Sam. Don't bring more trouble on yourself." I shook my head. Trouble already came. "It came with your son." Gasps rippled through the crowd. I saw fear in their eyes. Not one of them stepped forward. Not one spoke for Clara. Ethan leaned close, his breath sour. "She cries for me at night." "You'll see. She'll crawl back when she's tired of your empty ranch." I shoved him back. "Say her name again and I'll break your jaw." He laughed. "Try it. You'll hang for striking me." The sheriff raised his hand. "Enough, both of you." "Sam, leave now." I looked at him hard. "If the law won't protect her, then I will." The sheriff's hand went to his gun. That sounded like a threat. "No," I said. "That's a promise." I turned and walked back to my horse. My boots shook the dust loose. The crowd parted, whispers chasing me. "He's a dead man." "Sheriff won't let him win." "Fool rancher." I heard them all. But I didn't stop. When I reached my horse, an old woman near the well called softly. "Son, don't fight them." "You'll lose." I paused. "I can't let him keep her." Her eyes softened. "Then God help you." I rode out of town, the sun burning on my back. Every hoofbeat felt like a warning. When I reached the ranch, Clara was waiting near the barn door. She looked small, hands trembling, eyes wide. "You went to town," she whispered. "Yes," I said. I faced him, tears welled in her eyes. "What did he say?" "He said you belonged to him." Her face went pale. "He will never stop." I placed a hand on her shoulder. "He can try. But this is my home." "You are safe here." She shook her head. "No one is safe from Ethan. The sheriff won't stop him." "I know," I said softly. "That's why I will." She stared at me, her lips trembling. "Why risk your life for me?" I looked at her steady. "Because chains should never hold a good heart. And because I won't watch another soul be broken." Her tears fell, but she nodded. "Then I'll stay. I'll fight too." I guided her inside. The barn smelled of hay and smoke. She sat on a crate, hands still trembling, but her eyes held a spark now. I stood there, heart heavy, but strong. Ethan had power. The sheriff had law. The town had fear, but me? I had her trust. And I swore I would not let it break. I woke early, the sun barely above the hills. The barn smelled of smoke still, though the fire had been put out days ago. I found Clara sweeping near the door. "You don't need to do that," I said. She shook her head. "I must help." "I can't sit still." Her hands trembled as she worked, and every time the wind rattled the wood, she flinched. "You're safe here," I told her. "Safe," she whispered. "Chains follow me even without metal," I wanted to argue, but her eyes held fear I could not break with words. Later, Martha walked into the yard. Her arms folded. "You let her stay," Martha said sharply. "Yes," I answered. "She needs shelter. She will ruin us. The sheriff's son won't forget." "People talk, Sam. They call her shame." I stared at the fence posts I'd repaired. "I don't care what they call her." "You should," Martha snapped. "Our family already suffers. Don't add her weight." Clara stepped out of the barn, holding her dress close. "I can go," she said softly. "No," I said firmly. "You stay." Martha's eyes narrowed, but she turned and walked back toward the house. That evening, I heard laughter. A rare sound on the ranch. I followed it and found Tommy sitting with Clara near the fire. She held a small book, its cover torn. "Read again," Tommy begged. Clara smiled faintly. "All right." The boy walked home. He saw his mother. He was happy. Tommy clapped his hands. I liked that one. I leaned on the doorway, listening. Her voice was soft but steady. For the first time, her hands did not shake. "You read well," I said when she looked up. Her face warmed. It's the only gift I have left. Later, I sat outside, staring at the stars. Clara joined me, wrapping her shawl tight. "You don't fear the dark?" I asked. "I fear men more than dark," she said. Her words cut deep. I thought of Ethan's sneer in town, the sheriff's silence. "You're not alone now," I told her. She looked at me carefully. "Why risk yourself for me?" I paused, unsure how to answer. "Because no one else did." Her eyes softened, though fear still lingered there. The next morning, Clara tried to milk the cow. "She spilled half the pail and the cow kicked. I can't do anything right," she cried. I walked over, steadying her hands. "It takes practice. Try again." She tried, slower this time, and milk filled the pail, "You see?" I said. Her lips curved into the smallest smile. "Maybe I can belong here." "You do," I whispered, though I wasn't sure she heard. Days passed and whispers in town grew louder. Men at the saloon said I had taken a tainted woman. Women crossed the street when Clara walked by my side. One afternoon, Martha slammed the door. "They say you shame the family." "I don't care," I replied. "You will when they burn your ranch again." I clenched my fists. "Then let them." "I'll rebuild," Martha's voice broke. "Why her, Sam? Why not someone clean?" I looked at Clara, standing near the window, silent but proud. "Because she's human. Because she deserves more than chains." Clara's eyes filled, but she did not speak. That night, Tommy crawled into my lap. "Uncle Sam, will she stay forever?" I stroked his hair. "Do you want her to?" "Yes," he said quickly. "She reads better than Martha. She makes me laugh." Clara sat by the fire, her face glowing in the light. She looked at me, then at Tommy, and I saw something shift inside her. Not fear, not shame, hope. For the first time, light returned to her eyes. The sound of hooves came fast. I stepped out of the barn, dust on my hands. Ethan sat tall on his horse, his gun belt shining. His men laughed behind him. "You owe me, Carter," he shouted. I wiped sweat from my face. "I owe you nothing," he smirked. "You hide her." "That woman is mine. She's free," I said. "Not yours." Ethan leaned forward in the saddle. "You think freedom is free?" "Pay me or watch your land burn." I clenched my fists. "Get off my fence." His horse kicked dirt. "This fence, this ranch, all of it will burn if I don't get what I want." The men laughed again. One spat on the ground. I felt my stomach twist, but I stood firm. "Leave now." Ethan smiled wide. "You're a fool, rancher. Fire speaks louder than words." He turned his horse. The others followed, their laughter carrying with the wind. I stayed there a long time, staring at the empty road. My chest felt heavy. I knew what he could do. I knew the fire he spoke of was not just words. When I stepped back inside, Clara was waiting near the doorway. Her face was pale. "He came again, didn't he?" "Yes," I said. "He wants to burn me out." Her hands shook. He always makes good on his threats. I poured water into a tin cup and handed it to her. "You're safe here." She looked down. "I've never been safe, not with him." I sat on the wooden chair. "Tell me, Clara, why does he chase you?" Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Because once I trusted him." I leaned forward. "Trusted?" She nodded. "He promised me a life. He promised marriage, a home, family. I believed him. I was young, foolish," her voice cracked. "Instead, he gave me chains. He branded me with shame. He said no man would ever see me as more than dirt." I felt rage crawl up my chest. "He lied. He broke you." She shook her head. "No, I broke myself. I believed his words. Now I carry the shame." I stood and walked closer. "No, his shame, not yours." Her eyes rose to mine. "You don't know the things he said." "The names he gave me. He told the town I begged for him." He made them laugh at me. "When I walk past, they whisper." I breathed slow. "Then let them whisper. Their words mean nothing here." Clara stepped back, pressing her hands together. "Do you mean that?" "Yes," I said. "You are not his. You are not their joke. Your chains end here." For a long time she said nothing. The only sound was the wind outside. Finally she whispered, "Why would you fight for me?" I answered, "Because no one fought for me once. I know what it feels like to stand alone." Her eyes softened, but fear still lived there. "He won't stop. Ethan is like fire. He burns until nothing is left." I set my hand on the table. "Then I'll fight fire with fire." She shook her head quickly. You'll die. He has men, guns, the law on his side. I leaned closer. I have truth, and I have you if you'll stand with me. Clara's lips trembled. You would risk everything for me? I already have, I said. Her tears fell then. She sank into the chair. I wanted so badly to believe his lies. I wanted to be someone's wife, someone's promise. I crouched beside her. You are not his lie. You're stronger than that. Her hand moved, slow and unsure, to touch mine. And if I'm not? I gripped her hand firm. Then I'll hold the weight until you are. Outside, an owl called in the distance. The firelight flickered across her face. She whispered again, your chains end here. I repeated her words back, stronger. Yes, your chains end here. We sat in silence, the night deep around us. But inside, for the first time, she let the chains slip. And for the first time, I let my promise grow roots. The night smelled wrong. I stepped out from the house and froze. Smoke, I whispered. Clara ran beside me. Where? I pointed. The barn. Flames jumped like devils in the dark. Sparks lit the sky red. The cattle cried, kicking the fence. I felt my heart pound like a drum. They did this, Clara said, voice shaking. Ethan! I spat. It's his mark. I grabbed buckets and shoved one into her hands. Stay back if it's too much, she glared through smoke. No, I stay. We ran to the well. My throat burned already. We hauled water, stumbling through dust and sparks. I threw the first bucket at the barn wall, but the fire laughed at me. It spread faster, Clara coughed, eyes wet. More water. Keep low, I told her. Smoke will kill. We worked in rhythm. Water, cough, run again. My arms burned. Her dress was black with ash. Still, she did not stop. Clara, I shouted over the roar. Go back! No, she gasped. This is my fight, too. Her words cut through the noise. My chest ached with pride and fear mixed together. A horse screamed inside. The stall! I cried. I ran through the door. Heat slammed into me like a wall. Flames curled above the beams. The horse thrashed, eyes wide. I grabbed the rope and pulled. The animal fought me wild with terror. Sam! Clara screamed from the doorway. I've got it! I dragged the horse, coughing hard. My boots slid on wet ash. The horse kicked, nearly crushing me. But finally it stumbled out into the night. Clara slapped its side, pushing it clear. Go! She cried at the animal. I staggered back out, chest on fire from the smoke. The barn roof cracked. Wood splinters flew. The fire ate everything. Tools, hay, years of work. Clara pulled at my sleeve. You can't save it! Maybe not, I said, but I'll try. I ran again with buckets. She followed, stubborn as stone. Her cough grew harsh, but she fought on. Stop, I begged. You'll choke. She met my eyes, ash on her face. If you fall, I fall too. The roof crashed then, flames leaping high. Sparks rained down. Clara shielded her head. I pulled her close, heart hammering. Back! I yelled. Now! We stumbled away as the barn collapsed in a storm of sparks. The ground shook. The fire's roar turned to a hiss as timbers fell into ash. We stood breathing hard. The cattle huddled near the fence, frightened but alive. The barn was gone. Nothing left but a pile of glowing ruin. Clara's hand shook in mine. Her voice broke. All burned. Not all, I said. I pulled her close, feeling her tremble against me. We watched the sky lighten. Smoke curled into dawn. Half my land lay black with ash. The fields, the barn, years of sweat gone in one night. Clara whispered, He did this. Yes, I said, jaw tight. Ethan left his mark. Her eyes met mine. What will you do? I looked at the ruins, then at her. My chest still burned with smoke and anger. I'll fight, I said. Not with fire. With truth. She leaned against me, tired, dirty, coughing. But her eyes were fierce. Then I'll fight with you. The sun rose behind us, pale gold over black ground. My ranch was broken, scarred, but so was I. And I was still here. Ethan thought fire would scare me. All it did was wake me. I walked with Clara to the small church. The bell stood quiet, but I felt it ring in my chest. My boots struck the wooden steps hard, each sound like a warning. Inside, Pastor Green looked up. His hands trembled around his worn Bible. Pastor, I said, my voice firm. We came for truth. Clara held her shawl close. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned. He nodded slowly. What burden do you bring here? Clara stepped forward. My name is Clara Hayes. You know me. The pastor swallowed hard. Yes, child. I know. You know what Ethan did, she said, her voice shaking. He promised me marriage. He swore before God, but he lied. Her hands clutched the shawl tighter. He chained me. He used my body. And when I begged for help, his father turned his face away. The church air grew heavy. I could hear my heart beat. The pastor closed his Bible. These are strong words. They are truth, I said. She speaks before God. He looked at Clara, then at me. His lips pressed tight. Clara's voice rose. Do you fear Ethan more than God? Do you fear the sheriff more than truth? Her words shook the walls. Dust fell from the rafters. Pastor Green trembled. You ask me to stand against law, against blood. Ethan is the sheriff's son. You preach of courage, I said. You preach of faith. Where is it now? Clara's eyes filled with tears, but she did not stop. I was chained like an animal. I was left to rot. I wanted death. But she pointed at me. He cut those chains. He gave me life. The pastor's eyes flickered. I saw guilt swim there. He knew. I can write a letter, he whispered. A letter to the judge in the city. But if I speak here, I will lose everything. Clara stepped closer. Her voice was soft, almost breaking. You already lost, Pastor. You lost God when you chose silence. I felt fire in my chest. Her courage was stronger than mine. He sank into the pew. I am an old man. I fear men more than heaven. Then hear this, Clara said, her words sharp. I will speak. Even if my voice shakes, I will speak. The chains they put on me will not keep me silent. Her words filled the room like thunder. I looked at her and saw not weakness, but fire. I placed my hand on her shoulder. You are not alone. I stand with you. The pastor lowered his head. Then may God forgive me. I will not stop you. But I cannot protect you, Clara nodded. God is enough. Truth is enough. We turned to leave. The floorboards groaned under our steps. Outside the sun was harsh, the sky wide. Do you regret it? I asked softly. She shook her head. No, I lived too long in silence. If I die free. Her words cut me deep. I swore inside my heart I would never let Ethan chain her again. As we walked back to the ranch, I felt the eyes of the town on us. Men leaned on posts, women pulled children close. Whispers followed like snakes in the grass. But Clara walked tall. For the first time, I saw pride in her steps. I whispered to her, You are stronger than all of them. She smiled faintly. No, I am only free. That night by the fire, she repeated her words. I spoke before God. He heard me. Even if men stay silent, heaven does not. I held her close. And I heard you too. Your truth is mine now. The fire cracked. Shadows danced. And though fear still ruled the town, I felt chains break again, this time in both our hearts. The night was quiet. I thought the danger had passed. Clara sat near the fire, her eyes soft but worried. I tried to calm her, but my own chest carried fear. I hear whispers in town, she said. What kind of whispers? I asked. That Martha talks, she answered. My heart froze. My own sister? She is scared, Clara whispered. She wants to protect her son. I stood up fast. The chair scraped the floor. Fear doesn't give her the right to betray us. Clara's voice shook. She thinks you will die for me. She thinks I'm a curse. I paced the room. You are not a curse. You are life. Clara looked down at her hands. I don't want you hurt because of me. I knelt beside her. We faced this together. Always. Before she could reply, I heard horses outside. The sound of hooves cut through the silence like thunder. My blood went cold. They're here, Clara whispered, her face pale. I grabbed my rifle from the wall. Stay behind me. Clara pulled my arm. No, Sam. If they see me here, they'll burn your land. I don't care, I said. But I do, she cried. I can't watch you die for me. The pounding at the door shook the walls. Open up, Carter, a voice yelled. Sheriff's orders! I held my breath. My hands gripped the rifle tighter. Clara stepped toward the back door. I should run, I blocked her way. No, if you run, they'll hunt you. If you stay, we fight together. Her eyes filled with tears. You'll be killed. Then I'll die standing, I said. The door burst open. Men in dark coats pushed inside, guns raised. The sheriff stood behind them, his face hard. Ethan walked in with a grin. Well, Ethan said. Hiding my woman, Carter. She's not yours, I spat. She's mine by law, he sneered. And you'll pay for stealing her. Clara trembled beside me. I am no one's property, Ethan smirked. Say that in chains. The men moved closer. I lifted my rifle. One step closer, and I fire. The sheriff raised a hand. Don't be a fool, Sam. Think of your family. Think of your sister and her boy. My chest burned. Martha's name stabbed me like a knife. You used her, I said. You used Martha's fear to break me, Ethan laughed. Fear works better than bullets. Clara gripped my sleeve. Sam, please. Don't fight. They'll kill you. I looked at her. Her eyes begged me to live. Slowly, I lowered the rifle. My hands shook with rage. Ethan snapped his fingers. 2 men grabbed Clara's arms. She screamed and kicked, but they forced her down. Iron cuffs clamped around her wrists again. No! I shouted. She cried out, Sam! I lunged forward, but the sheriff's men held me back. My rifle was torn from my grip. Fists struck my face. Blood filled my mouth. Ethan leaned close, his voice cruel. You should have stayed quiet, rancher. You can't fight the law. You're no law, I growled. You're a coward. He struck me with the butt of his gun. Stars exploded in my vision. The town gathered outside as they dragged Clara into the street. Torches lit the night. Faces watched from windows and doors. Some shook their heads, others whispered. No one stepped forward. Clara stumbled as Ethan pulled her by the chain. Walk, woman, he ordered. She cried out, This is not justice! The sheriff shouted, Enough! Take her! I staggered after them, my lip bleeding. Clara! She turned her head, eyes filled with fire. We face this together, she screamed, but the chain pulled her away. The crowd parted as Ethan dragged her down the main street. My knees almost buckled. Shame burned in me. Rage boiled in my chest. I wanted to fight, but guns surrounded me. Martha stood at the edge of the crowd. Her face pale, her arms tight around her son. Our eyes met. She mouthed the words, I'm sorry. I shook my head. Sorry won't save her, I whispered. The torches flickered as the men rode off with Clara in chains. The sound of hooves faded into the night. I stood alone in the dust, my fists clenched, my soul breaking. I whispered into the darkness, I will bring you back. I swear it. The courthouse smelled of dust and fear. I walked in beside Clara, her wrists still marked by the chains Ethan had placed on her. The benches were filled with townsfolk. Some looked curious, others hungry for blood. My heart pounded, but I stood tall. Ethan smirked as he leaned toward the sheriff, his father. She's nothing but a thief, he said loud enough for all to hear. She stole from me. She broke my trust, Clara whispered to me. I never took a thing. Please believe me. I do, I said. I believe every word. The sheriff banged the gavel. Order. This hearing is about truth, not noise. I wanted to laugh at that. Truth had no place in this room. The sheriff's eyes were already cold, already set. Ethan stood before the crowd, full of fake sorrow. I wanted to help her, he said. I promised her food, shelter, even a home. And how did she repay me? She betrayed me. She ran, she lied. She made me look weak before this town. Gasps filled the air. Martha, sitting in the back, lowered her eyes. I felt fire in my chest. I stepped forward. You chained her, I shouted. You broke her spirit. You called her property, not a person. That's no kindness. That's cruelty. The sheriff banged the gavel again. Quiet, Sam. You'll speak when allowed. Clara's voice shook, but she rose. I worked for him. I cleaned his house. I cooked his meals. I gave everything. He promised marriage, then laughed and locked me in chains. The crowd stirred. A few muttered, others turned their heads. Truth began to breathe in the room. Ethan slammed his fist on the table. She lies! She wanted my money. She wanted my name. When I refused, she ran to Carter's ranch. He hides her because he wants her himself. All eyes turned to me. Clara looked broken, her eyes shining with tears. I clenched my fists. Yes, she's with me. And yes, I'll protect her. Because she deserves freedom, not chains. She deserves respect, not lies. The sheriff glared at me. Careful, Sam. You're close to contempt. I don't fear your contempt, I said. I fear silence. And I won't stay silent. Pastor Green rose slowly. Sheriff, I heard her cries. I saw the marks. Are we blind to suffering? The sheriff's face hardened. Sit down, Pastor. This is law, not church. The gavel cracked against wood. Enough. I rule in favor of my son. Clara Hayes will remain under Ethan Blackwell's care until further notice. Clara gasped as if struck. She reached for me, but the deputies pulled her back. No, I shouted, stepping forward. 2 men blocked my path. My fists curled, but I knew I could not win here. Not in this place. Not with their law. Clara's eyes found mine. Tears streaked her face. Don't let them take me, she whispered. I won't, I promised. Not forever. The sheriff leaned close, his voice cold. If you defy me again, Carter, you'll lose more than your ranch. I stared into his eyes, my rage like fire under the surface. Do what you must, but know this. The law may chain her, but I will break those chains. The room fell silent. Whispers curled like smoke. Townsfolk exchanged uneasy glances. Some looked at Ethan with doubt, others at me with hope. As deputies dragged Clara toward the door, her cry cut through the air. Sam! My chest burned. I wanted to tear the world apart. But I stood frozen, every muscle screaming. The sheriff slammed the gavel one last time. Court dismissed. The crowd spilled into the street, gossip flying like dust in the wind. Some said Clara was guilty. Some said I was mad. Others said Ethan was untouchable. I walked out into the sunlight, fists still clenched. The world blurred around me. Only one thought remained. If the law would not save Clara, I would. I rode through the dark night. My horse panted hard, hooves striking dust. The town lights glowed ahead, small and weak. My heart pounded louder than the hooves. I carried an axe on my back. I carried fire in my chest. I whispered to myself, this ends tonight. The jailhouse stood at the end of the street. 2 lamps burned low at the door. I pulled the axe free and walked fast. My boots scraped against the wood steps. Sam, a voice called from the shadows. I turned. It was Pastor Green. His face looked pale. You can't do this, he said. It's against the law. The law? I hissed. The law chained an innocent woman. You'll hang, he warned. Then I'll hang free, I said. I pushed past him. The door was locked tight. I lifted the axe. 1 hard swing. The wood cracked. Another swing and it broke. I kicked it open and stepped inside. Clara sat on the floor. Her hands and ankles still chained. She looked up, eyes wide. Sam, she whispered. Why? Because I can't leave you, I said. Tears fell down her face. He will kill you. Let him try, I said. I raised the axe and struck the chains. The sound of iron rang loud. Again and again until the links broke apart. She fell forward into my arms. Her body shook. She buried her face against my chest. You came, she said. You came for me, I promised, I whispered. Then I heard it. The sound of boots outside. Laughter followed. The door slammed open. Ethan stood there, pistol in hand, eyes burning. Well, well, he said. The rancher turned outlaw. I stepped in front of Clara. Put the gun down. He smiled wide. She's mine, Sam. Always was. No, Clara said. Her voice was weak but steady. I was never yours. He raised the pistol higher. Shut your mouth, I lunged forward. The gun fired. The shot tore past my ear, hot and loud. I grabbed his arm. We crashed against the wall. His fist struck my jaw. I tasted blood. You think you can fight me? He growled. I spat blood in his face. I can do more than fight you. He slammed me hard against the wall. My ribs screamed. His pistol clattered to the floor. I swung my fist into his jaw. He staggered but did not fall. Clara screamed, Sam! Ethan came at me again, fists wild. 1 hit caught my stomach, stealing my breath. Another slammed my cheek. The room spun, but I grabbed the broken chain from the floor. The iron links cut my hand. I swung it at him. It struck his arm. He howled, You'll pay! He shouted. He rushed me, rage in his eyes. But before I could move, Clara stepped forward. Her face was fierce now, no longer afraid. She held the chain in both hands. This is for every night you stole, she cried. She struck him across the face. The chain cracked against his skull. Ethan screamed, fell to his knees, blood running down his cheek. Clara hit him again. And again. Tears streamed down her face, but her arms did not stop. The chain dropped only when Ethan fell silent, his body still on the floor. The room went quiet. I breathed hard, chest burning. Clara shook, staring down at him. I killed him, she whispered. I stepped closer, touching her face. No, you freed yourself. Her eyes met mine. For the first time, I saw strength in them, not fear. I dropped the axe. I took her hand. Come, I said. We go home now. We walked out together. The street was empty, silent under the stars. Clara leaned against me, weak but alive. Behind us, the jailhouse door swung in the wind. Inside lay chains, blood, and the body of a man who thought he owned everything. I whispered to her. "You're free," she whispered back. "So are you." And together, we stepped into the night. I stood at the edge of the field. Clara bent down, her hands steady in the dirt. She pressed seeds into the earth, and her children laughed as they chased each other through the grass. The sound carried across the ranch like music. "Do you think they'll grow?" Clara asked, wiping sweat from her brow. "They'll grow," I said. "The land is scarred, but still alive," she smiled. "Like us," I nodded. "Like us," the town no longer mocked. Once, their whispers cut me deep. "She's a curse," they had said. "He'll lose everything." Now their whispers carried a different weight. Respect, not scorn. At the market, old men nodded. Women pressed bread into Clara's hands. Even Pastor Green stopped me one morning. "You did what many feared," he said softly. "You broke chains with courage." I didn't answer. Words felt heavy, but inside I knew he was right. One evening, Martha came to the ranch. She stood near the fence, her eyes searching Clara. "I was wrong," she said. "I thought she would destroy you. But I see now. She saved you." Clara's hand trembled in mine. She whispered, "I don't need her respect." I squeezed her fingers. "Maybe not, but it matters that you hear it." Martha nodded and left, leaving the gate open behind her. At night, Clara rested her head against my chest by the fire. The crackle filled the silence. "You gave me life," she whispered. I kissed her hair and whispered back, "No, you gave me mine." Her tears warmed my shirt. Mine burned my eyes. I remembered the first night, the chains on her wrists, the fear in her eyes, the way she flinched at every sound. And I remembered my own emptiness before her. A ranch half dead, a man half dead. Do you ever think of him? Clara asked one night. "Ethan?" I said. She nodded. "Yes," I said. "But not with fear anymore. Only with fire. He tried to break us." "He failed." Clara stared into the flames. "He gave me scars, but he also gave me you." I held her close. "We turned his cruelty into love. That is our revenge." The seasons shifted. Winter frost gave way to spring rains. Crops rose in the field. Cattle returned to the pastures. The ranch stood whole again, though blackened wood still marked the barn. Tommy asked one day, "Why not fix it all? Paint it new?" "Because scars tell stories," I said. This ranch was burned, but it lived, just like us. Clara smiled at him. "Scars mean we survived," the boy nodded. His laughter echoed as he ran off to play. By summer, the town came together for a gathering. The sheriff stood there, old and weak. His eyes avoided mine. He said nothing. Justice had never come through him. But justice came in another way. Clara walked through the crowd free, no chains, no shame. That was justice enough. Later that night, I stood with Clara on the porch. The stars stretched wide. The land smelled of hay and rain. "Do you regret staying?" I asked. She leaned into me. "Never. You gave me a home. Not just walls. A true home." I swallowed hard. "I gave you nothing compared to what you gave me." Her lips curved. Then we gave each other enough. I thought of all we had faced. Fire, betrayal, chains, hunger. Yet here we stood, alive together. The whispers of the town faded into dust. What mattered now was the sound of her breath against me, the children's laughter on the wind, and the seeds growing in the soil. The ranch was scarred, yes. But scars were proof of survival. I whispered into the night, "This is mine. My life is mine." And Clara whispered back, "Ours, always ours. From fire and chains we built love. From pain we built a family." My ranch was alive, and so was I.